KBCE3 and get ready to network, learn, and grow. Powered by Kings. Are you ready to take your career and business to the next level? Do you want to connect with industry experts and fast-track your business growth as you learn from their success stories? Then don't miss out on King's Business and Career Expo, featuring product exhibitions, panel discussions, keynote speeches, and business pitches. You will also get the chance to win some money for your business or projects. And of course, there will be loads of opportunities to network with like-minded professionals and explore exciting career opportunities at our exhibition hall. Join us on Saturday, June 17, 2023 at Solution Arena, 156 Ikorodu Road, Onikpan Bus Stop, Lagos, and accelerate your growth at the King's Business and Career Expo. Register now at bit.ly/KBCE3 and get ready to network, learn, and grow. Powered by Kings. Are you ready to take your career and business to the next level? Do you want to connect with industry experts and fast-track your business growth as you learn from their success stories? Then don't miss out on King's Business and Career Expo, featuring product exhibitions, panel discussions, keynote speeches, and business pitches. You will also get the chance to win some money for your business or projects. And of course, there will be loads of opportunities to network with like-minded professionals and explore exciting career opportunities at our exhibition hall. Join us on Saturday, June 17, 2023 at Solution Arena, 156 Ikorodu Road, Onikpan Bus Stop, Lagos, and accelerate your growth at the King's Business and Career Expo. Register now at bit.ly/KBCE3 and get ready to network, learn, and grow. Powered by Kings. Are you ready to take your career and business to the next level? Do you want to connect with fast-track your business growth as you learn from their success stories? Then don't miss out on King's Business and Career Expo, featuring product exhibitions, panel discussions, keynote speeches, and business pitches. You will also get the chance to win some money for your business or projects. And of course, there will be loads of opportunities to network with like-minded professionals and explore exciting career opportunities at our exhibition hall. Join us on Saturday, June 17, 2023 at Solution Arena, 156 Ikorodu Road, Onikpan Bus Stop, Lagos, and accelerate your growth at the King's Business and Career Expo. Register now at bit.ly/KBCE3 and get ready to network, learn, and grow. Powered by Kings. Are you ready to take your career and business to the next level? Do you want to connect with industry experts and fast-track your business growth as you learn from their success stories? Then don't miss out on King's Business and Career Expo, featuring product exhibitions, panel discussions, keynote speeches, and business pitches. You will also get the chance to win some money for your business or projects. And of course, there will be loads of opportunities to network with like-minded professionals and explore exciting career opportunities at our exhibition hall. Join us on Saturday, June 17, 2023 at Solution Arena, 156 Ikorodu Road, Onikpan Bus Stop, Lagos, and accelerate your growth at the King's Business and Career Expo. Register now at bit.ly/KBCE3 and get ready to network, learn, and grow. Powered by Kings. Are you ready to take your career and business to the next level? Do you want to connect with industry experts and fast-track your business growth as you learn from their success stories? Then, don't miss out on King's Business and Career Expo, featuring product exhibitions, panel discussions, keynote speeches, and business pitches. You will also get the chance to win some money for your business or projects. And of course, there will be loads of opportunities to network with like-minded professionals and explore exciting career opportunities at our exhibition hall. Join us on Saturday, June growth at the King's Business and Career Expo. Register now at bit.ly/KBCE3 and get ready to network, learn, and grow. Powered by Kings. Are you ready to take your career and business to the next level? Do you want to connect with industry experts and fast-track your business growth as you learn from their success stories? Then, don't miss out on King's Business and Career Expo, featuring product exhibitions, panel discussions, keynote speeches, and business pitches. You will also get the chance and explore exciting career opportunities at our exhibition hall. Join us on Saturday, June 17, 2023 at Solution Arena, 156. Experts and fast-track your business growth as you learn from their success stories. Then, don't miss out on King's Business and Career Expo, featuring product exhibitions, panel discussions, keynote speeches, and business pitches. You will also get the chance to win some money for your business or projects. And of course, there will be loads of opportunities to network with like-minded professionals and explore exciting career opportunities at our exhibition hall. Join us on Saturday, June 17, 2023 at Solution Arena, 156 Ikorodu Road, Onikan Bus Stop. Network, learn, and grow. Powered by Kings. Are you ready to take your career and business to the next level? Do you want to connect with industry experts and fast-track your business growth as you learn from their success stories? Then, don't miss out on King's Business and Career Expo, featuring product exhibitions, panel discussions, keynote speeches, and business pitches. You will also get the chance to win some money for your business or projects. And of course, there will be loads of opportunities to network with
And as a Gen Z, the population that you have needs. There'll be makes, there'll be payment, resources around that. You're going to be part of the next wave. Me was that after you're done with the 3 or 4 days, I think 4 or 5 days, it was about a week, I think Tuesday to Friday. Once you're done with that, you will be able to make legitimate money online. So I said, I need to be a part of this. Who wants to guess how much my pocket money was at the time? Wild guess. 10 million words. Calories. Tell me. 30 naira. Rate me now. Don't berate me now. Don't frustrate me now. 10? 10k naira. Very close to it. It was 6,000 naira for the whole month. Oh yeah. Why are you clapping? Rich kid. Right, for the whole month. Now guess how much this training was going for? No, 3,500 naira. Yes. So it meant that if I was going to attend this event, I would be spending 18 days worth of income. Right? 18 days worth of income for 4 days. Now, I think I was 20 or 21 at the time. So you can imagine that I was nothing like the typical 21 or 22-year-old. Why? Because if you have 3.5 and you don't like them, there was what they call risky burger. Now you guys have Korede spag, right? You go and buy what they call risky burger. That's bread with egg from Moremi Car Park. You enjoy yourself. Maybe you buy turkey or chicken or something like that. But I started thinking to myself, if what I had was not enough, that meant I needed to increase my capacity. So please write this down. Seek to increase your capacity before you seek to increase your income. This is very important because a lot of people are focusing on income. As long as you run after income, you will keep missing out. But if you build capacity, income will come looking for you. Build capacity, you have value. And so I learned that lesson. I say, you know what? What's the worst that could happen? Let me just go for this event. I was the youngest that I met at that event. There were possibly maybe 150 people or so. Ladies and gentlemen, from that event, I discovered that you could make ebooks online. This is about 2006 or something like that. That you could actually publish your ebook and sell online. I discovered how to design websites. Many of you don't even know that this software ever existed. Who's familiar with Microsoft Front Page? Anybody? No, because it's not even on the back page right now. Right? But Google it, you see. That was how I learned to design websites. Before WordPress, my first blog on WordPress was 2 years later in 2008. And then Blogspot. Who remembers .blogspot? 2000. Victor, are you familiar with those things? Oh my gosh. And this is your space. Right, so I'm an ancient of days. Right, but I learned with the tools I had. And what happened was that within 6 weeks, based on applying the things I learned over a 4-day period, I made 72,000 naira. The reason you're not clapping is that you're thinking about figures. You don't think about figures, think about ratios. You think about ratios. 12 times what my monthly income was. What changed? Write these 3 things down. Number 1, new light. And these are the 3 things I wanted to extract from this session today. The first one is new light. You can see the same thing over and over, but until you see new light, you will never know that there's pounded yam inside raw yam. You'll never know that there are chocolate bars that can become $1 billion a year business if you just see the cocoa pods in its raw state. You will never know that the sand you're throwing everywhere can actually be turned into mirrors and it can find its way into all the homes across the world. You will never know that making somebody laugh in the backside of somewhere could actually translate into hundreds of thousands of followers like Gion has done, and now multiple millions of naira through deals and partnerships and investments and stuff like that. You will never know. New light. New light. Number 2, new relationships. Please today, listen to every speaker, absorb their intelligence, but also forge partnerships. And don't just seek to take selfies with the speakers if you get a chance to. The next set of billionaires are possibly sitting beside you, but because they are currently in a crude and raw state just like you won't recognize them. Do you know that over the last 3 years, somebody give me the right figure. Inyaboye just spoke about how much capital has been raised, how much foreign investments have come in. Is it $1 billion or something over the last 2 or 3 years? $1 billion, and most of those people are in their 20s. More than that, they're in their 20s. A couple are in their 30s. In the last 3 years, what has changed? Some who even dropped out of school. I'm not saying drop out of school, but some who even did, or some who just never worked a typical 9 to 5. They got into clusters and into groups. So please, when the compare the MC or a speaker or a panelist speaks about relationships, don't just let it fall over your head. There were people that I connected with at that training in 2006 that we're still connected to right now. For example, Olatunde Samson. I'm still connected to the person, to some of those people right now. So establish connections. Number 3, and this is the most important one, new decisions that lead to immediate and consistent action. New decisions. Decisions are so important. And I love words, so I break them down and I check out the etymology. Etymology is just basically the origin of words and the breaking down of words to extract their original meaning. Decision is from 2 words, D and scission. Scission means to cut, like incision, to cut inside. Circumcision, to cut around. Decision is to cut off. So what it means is, when you have new lights and new relationships, there are certain things you must cut off. You must cut off the mindset that says, I must use an iPhone 14 when I don't even have an investment in shares or insurance or land. That decision is hurting your future. You need to cut that off. The decision that says, I want to be on stage before I have any substance. And I believe that as you do that, there's going to be a change in your life, in your business, and in your career. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my delight and my pleasure to welcome you and to open up officially King's Business and Career Expo 3.0. If you're more excited, raise the roof.
I'm not sure you're celebrating, but can you put your hands together and make some noise? Amazing, amazing. 3 things that you must do. Right about now, we are moving to the core part of this amazing series of events. I'm very excited to bring on stage our keynote speaker for this event. Can we celebrate the person of Mr. Gbenga Tutoyi, who is going to be speaking to us? We're going to be playing his profile. And I want you to please pay attention. Thank you. Media, are we ready?
Benga Totoi is an emerging HR thought leader with interest in people development, organizational design, and institutional change. His focus is on helping organizations design and align long-term strategic aspirations with people-centered initiatives required to drive performance, profitability, and growth efficiently, bearing in mind the realities of the new world of work. He is the Group Head, Human Resources for Consolidated Home. Benga Totoi is an emerging HR thought leader with interest in people development, organizational design, and institutional change. His focus is on helping organizations design and align long-term strategic aspirations with people-centered initiatives required to drive performance, profitability, and growth efficiently, bearing in mind the realities of the new world of work. He is the Group Head, Human Resources for Consolidated Hallmark Insurance. He is also a partner at Island and Grant, a boutique people development company delivering bespoke solutions to organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome our keynote speaker, Benga Totoi.
Third edition of the King's Business and Career Expo, Mr. Benga Totoi.
Thank you very much. Let's. What's your name again? Rosemont deserves a clap as well. Let's go ahead. No. Wait to collect it. Collect it. Let's give her a clap as well. All right. Thanks. Thanks for that. Okay. Great to be here. Great to be here. And thanks for the introduction. Thanks for the energy. I believe that those at the back in the stands can hear me as well. If you can hear me, please make some noise from the back. Okay, if you're at the stand, you're selling or whatever, just make some noise again. Okay, but if you are out here, make some noise so everybody can hear you as well. Okay, thank you so much, P. Dams and your wife. Thank you for having me. This means a lot. And I like events like this where, speakers, panelists are like minds. And today we've had some very interesting conversations at the back. And I have no doubt that as we go on today, you will get quite a lot, right? So please, like P-Dam said, listen, take notes. In my experience speaking in programs like this, it's very possible that some of the things that you would hear will probably just fly over your head. Or you would be like, what are they talking about? This is not for me. But just listen and just take notes. More importantly, I know for a certain that some of the things and everything we are saying today will be like seeds, literally speaking, that will it will shall enter, right? It will enter, it will stay. And some of you, it's much later, and on a personal level, it happens to me a lot. It's almost always later in the night or a week. Very likely when you're going to listen to the news later tonight, some of the things I'm saying now okay, I think that guy said this, right? And you go to work on Monday, or you're back in school, or you're reading an article online, and then some things will come together, right? But just do me the favor, listen. I've got about 45 minutes to quickly do this. And my attempt is to just open up the conference, as it were. And then I believe, I've seen the speakers on the panels and all of that. I know for a certain that a number of them would then be able to break it down as it applies to you. I've been asked to speak on scaling for success, going from meager to mega, or like some would say, going from local to global, or just taking what is small and making it big. Interestingly enough, the report you asked for, I just Google searched it. So in the last 7 years, 2015 to 2022, tech startups in Nigeria, not Africa, in Nigeria have raised about $2.1 billion US. Did you hear me? Jack that person, listen to what he just said. $2.1 billion US. You are the finance person. Let's just say by 500. No, let's say by 700. How much is that in Naira? 14 billion. If I go deeper in that report and check the average age of the let's say 2 billion by 700 is what? Please help me. 1.4 trillion naira. 1.4 trillion naira. If I go deeper with that report and I check the average age of the tech founders in all of those verticals, I am certain the average age will be they are mostly between 25 and 35, right? So it is very possible to do these things, and we are in the generation where that is happening quite a lot, okay? I will just share my thoughts very quickly, and then if it's possible, I'll take one or two questions, or if not, we'll just flow into it. See, the topic scaling for success suggests that majority of us as participants here right now, or that's listening online, or that will watch the video later, you have started something. Because to scale, you must have started. You have started something, right? That's what it means first. Number two, it means you have also survived the typical challenge of starting anything. And please, I'm going to try. For some reasons, my thought pattern or my notes skewed towards businesses. I struggled. But I will try and dance around and talk to people who are going to have careers, because I have been leading a campaign for as long as I can remember. You see, this thing where we demonize jobs, it's got to stop. It has got to stop. I tell and I meet a few entrepreneurs, and after listening to their stories, I'll just tell them, from one entrepreneur to another, I give you the permission to stop and not be guilty about it. You have tried, you have succeeded in trying, but you can stop now. And even if you are now seeking a job, tell the story that you acquired business acumen. It's great to have jobs. This thing where we say salary is just salary and all of that, forget it. People tell you you can't be a billionaire as a salary earner. They don't have data. They don't have data. They don't know what they are talking about. Because how much do you think is the salary of the group CEO of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the MGX, Oscar? You will be shocked. And there are people whose salary, cash element, is about 150 million a year. And then they have 2 SUVs, and then there's a driver to take their kids to school and bring them back, and then they pay for their house helps. And they don't pay to go on holiday because you have to travel first class every year. There are packages for job owners that are about 200, 250 million naira a year. And then I have seen business people or people who have started businesses or startups that honestly, if they had just allowed themselves 5 years or 7 years in normal corporate Nigeria before they start, it will show in simple things like the way you write emails or the way you write memos and proposals. It will show in the way you deal with people. It will just show. Because these things are not often taught. They are things that you have to experience, okay? So it shows that, one, you must have started something and you're trying to scale it. Number two, it shows that you have also survived a typical challenging period, right, where you have survived. And for anyone doing anything, career or business, if you have survived the last 5 years, particularly the COVID period and the level of disruptions that came just after COVID, you deserve a round of applause, because businesses died. Yeah, go ahead. I'm telling you, businesses died, things changed, countries changed. And if anything, what we are dealing with now is not just change, but the pace of change, or the requirement to adapt to change that is facing everyone. Right? So those things are very important. The third thing that is important about scaling or success is that it suggests that a change request has now been put on you. Either you're running a job, you're in a career, or you are in business. To scale suggests that you have also succeeded for a while. You have conquered a market, you have done well in a vertical, or you have scaled from being an analyst to a supervisor. You are now to lead a group or lead a directorate, or you are leaving one. You've grown the business from pure startup, from the very first business idea or the revenue you earned and you have even done a particular ceiling. You've reached a milestone. You now need to do more. I just want to break it down so that we understand it. Scaling means doing more, achieving more. You've done well to get the job, to do well on the job, but now you're getting promoted. You have done well even in speaking in social media language, you have conquered a platform is a part of social media platforms. And you really can't do as much in B2B conversations if you don't understand or know how to use LinkedIn. It's 80% of a lot of customer acquisition deals for corporate Nigeria or for corporate businesses comes through LinkedIn. Or do well in a new space. For people who are in pure, you are not only growing in arithmetic terms, you are growing in geometric terms. That's also what scaling means. Associated with it is also to be able to grow very fast. So for instance, it took you 5 years to grow from 0 naira to 10 million naira in revenue. You are now going from 10 million to 1 billion in 1 year. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I was speaking to a friend sometimes early this year, and he was sharing with me, and I need to say this because I know digital or social media is such a point of reference to a number of us. And I hope to God that some of us can understand that, you see, this whole digital marketing or social media thing is beyond the fact that you TikTok or you do all of those things, and it's great. I'm not here to demonize it. But there is a business to it. So I know one of the people who run one of the digital agencies in this country, and it does, so it's one thing to say I own a social media platform or platforms that I'm using. It's another thing to do that for companies. So there are digital marketing agencies that handle end-to-end the entire digital media expression of a lot of corporate Nigerian firms. So imagine doing that for a number of companies. And he shared with me how, and it was such a great information that up until sometimes last year or 2 years ago, they were doing about 500 million a year in total revenue. And last year they moved to 4 billion. I'll get into it. Access to new customers and new markets. More interesting about that feedback he gave me was that they didn't have to increase their cost or size of employees that much. So just look at the percentage. From doing 500 million a year to doing 4 billion the year after. That is, in true words, that is bliss scaling. That is growing very fast. That's not arithmetic in any way. That is a geometric growth. So, to a very large extent, scaling is transitionary. It's moving from one level of competence and capacity and success to a whole new level of success. It's speaking to geometric growth. I'll use an example, and interestingly enough, when I got up in the night to just look through my notes, there was a documentary on Bloomberg TV, so I just listened. How many of us know Coinbase? Okay, put down your hand. You deal in crypto, raise your hand. No, now, raise your hand. You have a crypto account or you have a crypto wallet, raise your hand. Okay, put down your hand. You don't know what crypto is, raise your hand. Thank you. You have not raised your hand at all, raise your hand now. You don't want to raise your hand at all because you don't know why I'm asking you to raise your hand. Now raise your hand, please. Okay, thank you. All right. When the original idea around, so Coinbase is the world's biggest crypto exchange platform, right? When the idea was conceived, the first accelerator program, or the major one they went through, was Y Combinator. The Y Combinator guys took 7% of their tech startup for just about $150,000 to go through that, and they took a 7% stake in their business. 5 years later, when they did their Series A fundraising, guess how much that business, or how much they were able to raise? They raised about $25 million US. Do you get what I'm trying to say now? More interestingly enough, and I'll get into that, so that is scaling, that is growth, and that's what we're talking about. And just before I lose everyone here, for as many that are at the back, and I can see a particular dress right now, for instance, this pink dress. Whoever owns that pink dress, just please run to the front. Whoever owns this pink dress or this top that I'm looking at, just please run to the front. If you can carry it, carry it. Or someone can help you. You can run to the front if you are the owner of that business. Come to the front. Let a great guy help you carry it. But you run to the front. Run. Let's clap for her as she runs. Let's clap. Don't carry it. There are gentlemen here. You just run to the front. Because sometimes when we give these lessons, I just want to really, really relate it. Okay? Okay. So, what I'm trying to say is this. This is, how much is this for? Come to the front. How much is this? Just put it there. But you can sell for her, so just come. So how much is this?
I don't know how much it is presently.
So this is like 10K. You didn't hear what I said, right? So this is like 10K, right? If this is your size, come. It's a size 10. If this is your size and you want it, come. I don't think it's your size. It's a size 10. You are a size 10. At this point, I will choose by myself. You are not size 10. You are not. No, you are not. You are like a 10. Okay, okay. You are closer to 10. Come. So this thing, no, that way. This thing I'm trying to explain is, for instance, they came here to sell perhaps just one piece. So they can make 10,000 naira selling this one piece. So let's say the return on investment is 40%. So they will make 4,000 naira for selling this one piece. Part of scaling is, and let's say they sell 10 pieces here. So they stand to make 40,000. General sales are 100,000. So if the best they've sold before now is 2 pieces per quarter, and they now sell 10 pieces in one day, that's scaling. Right? Where I need your mind to get to is, we are now in a world where you can sell 4,000 pieces. Now you're following. You can sell 4,000 pieces 2 weeks ago. You can sell 4,000 pieces in one day. You're getting it? There is another dimension to scaling, which is, and that's the next thing I'm going to explain. Scaling is not necessarily about doing something different. It's sometimes about accessing new customers in new markets with existing products and services. I hope you got that too. I really hope to God that you got that. For people who are salary earners and you're on a job, scaling could mean, I am right now on a job, I am on 10 million a year. That's my salary. I am managing a team of 5. My company now takes me, same skills, same area, same service, but I'm to start a subsidiary. And my budget responsibilities now just goes to 1 billion. I am earning 10 million, I am managing 1 billion. That's scale. What has changed is the value, and that's where I'm going, is the value of who is receiving or getting value. Sorry. When they say, what value do you have to bring to the table? More often than not, we look at the value of what we have. I went to school, I'm a graduate. So I have value to give. And then, do you know how much it cost me in time and money to acquire this degree? Or we say, do you know how much it took me to make this dress? That's the wrong way to look at value. The right way to look at value is, please, where is that lady? Come. And I don't mean this to disrespect you, right? She's wearing a t-shirt, she looks great. She looks great. So let's say right now she's worth, please, she's worth 100,000. But this dress is worth 100,000. Answer this question. The moment I put this dress, come. I put this dress on her, how much is she worth?
200,000 naira.
Arithmetically, she's worth 200,000 naira. If I was, I'll do this. If she was, I hope someone gets what I'm about to say now. If she was Hilda Bassi, and she wears this dress, how much is this dress worth? 1 million. If she was, what's it? There's a face in my head. This global, Beyonce is far. There's this global model, dark, American, tall, Campbell. If Campbell wears this, $1 million. Can you see the point now? So value is not necessarily on you or the cost it takes you to do what you are selling. Value is what the customer is getting from what you have created, or value is the perception you have created, or the value of the solution to the person who buys it from you. So you can do it. It's the same dress. This shift has to happen in time. It's the same dress. It's the same 1 hour to make. But by the time you differentiate with the customer or the value or the size of the market, there is a geometric jump in the value of the dress. The wahala is to now still try to sell the dress 10,000 naira. You can go with the dress. I'll pay. I hope you got the last thing I said. The problem is now to still try to sell the dress at 10,000 naira, even though you are standing before a 1 million or a 1 billion naira worth customer or market. That's where most people struggle with scaling. And that's the next thing I'm saying. Scaling also means accessing new markets with existing products and services. So I make the dress, I sell it in Ilukweju. But how can I get it to the Ghanaian market? How can I get it to the Kenyan market? How can I get this dress to New York, to Paris, to Italy? And in those markets, the value just changes. So it's not necessarily effort at creating it, it's effort at placing it. Thank you. Please, if you got that, let me know. You really, really got that. Thanks. The fourth part of scale is impact. So sorry, that third part, scale is referring to reach. So you're doing the same thing. You're doing the same thing. You have the same product or service, but how can you explore platforms to reach new customers and new markets? And this is the beauty of intellectual property for me. I'm speaking here now, right? I'm speaking, but I'll be a fool to think my reach is just everyone in this hall. I have no idea. In fact, the last time I was on this platform speaking, and I said almost the same thing. I said literally the same thing, that each time I have the opportunity to speak and I know that it's live or it's going to go anywhere, it's being recorded in any way, my approach changes because I have no idea. I honestly have no idea where it's going to get to. You guys are recording now, you are writing or saying something, you're going to mention my name to somebody. I have no clue. But I'm very conscious of it. I'm very conscious. Monday, a friend was in Ibadan preparing for work. And the first thing I said when I came here to teach that Sunday morning, I said that when I have the opportunity to talk to the Christian community, I say that, in my opinion, there are two critical things about the life of a man that is critical to God. And that's where he works and the job he does, which was why God created a workplace before he created man. And the first thing God gave man to do was work. There was the Garden of Eden, and the first thing God asked man to do was till the ground, be a farmer. So if you look at your life 80, 70 years after, those two things are critical. And there are things you will stop praying about if you start working in certain places. Mortgage, for instance, is part of your package. So why are you not praying for rent? You get what I'm trying to say? That guy called me Monday saying he was contemplating resigning, and it was that sentence he heard. I said, no, wait, what he's saying makes sense, right? So I'm conscious of that, and you have to do the same thing. What's the reach of what you are doing in business? What's the reach of what you are doing as a career person, and what's the value of that market? Number 4 is impact. So the Coinbase story I was talking about, guess what happened? All the employees, when they went public with their IPO, all the employees became millionaires instantly because they had shares in the company. And everyone who took a stake in the business when it started, by the time they went public, they just became billionaires all of a sudden. In fact, in the tech startup world, there's what is called the PayPal mafia. All the people who came together and were brains behind PayPal then are still guys that are moving the world. In fact, this night I got to realize that the guy behind I've forgotten his name now, the original brain behind LinkedIn that sold LinkedIn to Microsoft was actually, in fact, I didn't know until middle of the night that Elon Musk was also part of OpenAI. I didn't know. He was part of OpenAI. In fact, the two main promoters behind OpenAI were part of the PayPal mafia. And by the way, the guy said he was instrumental in also now selling OpenAI to Microsoft. And OpenAI was sold at $10 billion US. Impact. All over the world now, the conversation is perhaps we have finally found the true competition for Google in terms of search. You get it? That's that's the potential of OpenAI. Because the way it's built, it literally writes on any and every other thing that currently exists on the internet. Okay, So please, as you intend to scale, begin to look at the impact it has on you or in society or on governance, because there's a dimension to business and profiting and entrepreneurship now, and it's around what level of impact can this have on the community where we serve, on the society that we serve. Let me narrow it down. Hilda Bassi was already doing all this thing for years. In fact, a friend of mine that owns Pop Central said for like 2 years straight, she had a show that was teaching all this. She had a cooking show and all of those things. But she's been working on this idea, I hear, for at least 2-3 years or thereabout. What has happened now is scale. She did something that now made her reach more people, brought her into a new market, and she's serving new customers. And of course, the value has changed. But then, the other part, the fourth part I'm saying about is the impact. So all of a sudden, there is increased appreciation for every chef that we have in the country. All of a sudden, there's increased appreciation to say, we have always known, if they have asked me, I would have said, the best soups come from Akwa Ibom. If you doubt me, just eat fisherman soup from Akwa Ibom. If you are in doubt, just eat fish. But all of a sudden, it's the impact. It's the number of parents that will now say, oh, okay, well, yeah. So my daughter, my son can succeed being a chef. It's the impact. And that's the fourth thing about scaling. So let me wrap this up in 10 minutes. How does this now, what should now be our attitude to scaling, either on the job or if you have a business? There are 5-6 things I'll try to quickly just put together, and that will help us. And it's really about perspectives. And I've been warning people, sometimes we think the real change or the real impact is about what we begin to do. It's essentially whom we have to become to be able to do. We struggle to do because we are not, it's the being, not the doing. It's the being, not the doing. Because more often than not, from my experience, you realize that when you are truly scaled, it's like you are doing what you have always done, but it's just that you are now required to be someone else to handle the more that has now come into your hands. If you doubt me, you don't know how to manage money. If the best you have handled is 100,000 your entire life, you will very likely misbehave if I give you 10 million. I'm telling you, your brain will run scales on you that you'll be like, if I to help you, I should just lock you up in the room for about a day or two till you calm down. And then I can, because story has it, everyone that has won the lottery, 3 years, 5 years on, everyone that has retired and they've given their pension and all of that, if they are not helped to stay in a particular mode, they squander it. So what perspectives must you have? Where must you make the adjustment if you must truly, truly scale for success? The very first thing is a perspective on your current reality. Guys, I tell people sometimes when they come and meet me, I hate my job, I'm no longer satisfied, I want to leave. Anyone here, someone here will have probably heard me say this because I've said this several times. I always advise them, use the monkey strategy. What does the monkey strategy mean? Have you ever seen a monkey in the jungle? They will hold one rope, fling, hold another one, but they will test it. This thing is not holding, leave it, go back. You see, this whole idea of I'm frustrated, I'm not working, I will leave my job and I'll find another one. Be careful. Hold on to what you already have before you let it go. That's the right thing to do. Don't jump inside the river with your, don't do that. Just test it first. Test it. So what's your current reality, even in business? How many customers do you currently have? What's the share of the wallet of the customer that you have? So you make dresses. Are you the only one who sells dresses to this customer? Go to the customer's house. Check the entire wardrobe. They have 20 clothes. How many are yours? If you have 2 and the customer has 20, it means someone else is collecting the money that you should be collecting. It's not always about, Victor is here. The cost of acquiring new customers compared to managing existing customers, there's a huge difference. So look at your current reality. What do you have? If you have, like I was sharing with Olumide the other day, in my opinion, you don't overly structure, you don't overly structure a business as you start. What you should do when you start a business is generate revenue. Don't structure. When you start making money, you now need a structure to make it run sustainably. This thing where you overstructure businesses and all of a sudden there's no money, you have hired an accountant when there's no money to count. You are on a job. You are, for God's sake, an analyst. Stop being worried by people announcing on LinkedIn that they are now chief strategic. It will frustrate you. You are an analyst. Stay there. If every announcement on LinkedIn for another job is frustrating you and putting you under pressure, sign out. Stay on your job. I run HR. I have seen too many people not appreciate what they have because they are caught up on what they want to be or where they are going. There are times when you need to shut down. See, this thing about my 5-year, 10-year strategy sometimes is misleading. Forget that, because when that day comes, it will still be today. So today is what matters. Focus on your current reality. Please, focus. I want to be an influencer. I don't have 10,000 followers. Oga, you see that 1,000 followers you have? So have a different perspective to your current reality. And make clothes, make it damn well. I sell this, sell it well. Whatever it is that you have or don't have a better understanding of your current reality. What's your sales figure like? What's your operations like? What's your finances like? What exactly is your business model? What level of satisfaction are you getting on your job? Are you sure we are not about to sack you? This same job you want to change, or you are saying you are not satisfied. Are you sure you are even giving your very, very, very best? Focus on, look at what you currently have with a different mindset, with a different perspective. You know my experience. I personally believe that promotion should not be asked for or should not be demanded. In practice, this is what promotion means. You must have demonstrated to us that you have outgrown your current role and you are already functioning. We are seeing value come out of you that is tied to what is your next level. Then we promote you. We don't promote you to reward you for your current performance in your current role. We promote you into new roles that you have demonstrated capacity for in your existing role. I hope you get it. So look at that very well. Look at that very well. You have one training opportunity. Kill it. You have one customer, be the person that's serving that person. Number 2, take a second look at your vision. What was it when you started out? Where is it now? Is it time you pivoted? Is this business no longer working? Is the model wrong now? And accept it if it's wrong. Accept it if you need to pivot into something else. Or do you need to stay the course a little bit more? Are you going through that period where you are just fortifying what you have built? Or it's just that it's no longer working and you need to move to something else? Avoid the temptation of being ignorantly stubborn, of being passionately stupid. I'll take that again. Avoid the temptation of being ignorantly stubborn. If you don't know, you don't know. Seek a coach to help you. That boss that you say does not like you and you are praying away or you are trying, is probably trying to whip you into shape. I personally advise career people in your first 3 to 5 years, I pray to God that you have a difficult and a demanding boss. Or else, if you escape it, this thing you are talking about, toxicity in the workplace, it's for your good, though. That boss that makes you look at that mail again before you hit send. That boss that tells you this should be a full colon, not a semicolon. That boss that tells you this word should start with a small cap, not a full cap. It's good for you because once you escape that 3 years, 5 years, it's sometimes too hard to correct. Open up yourself to feedback, even when it hurts. Let that customer tell you your proposal sucks. And then go back and just do a simple Google search. How do I write better proposals? If you look at the report and look at what you've sent, wisdom will fall on you. Gabriel just made me remember something. I will say it. The way you're shaking your head, it just made me remember something. But so he sent someone to me. Someone reached out to me online and said he needed my help on something. And I said, okay, let's talk. And I gave him like an hour. And when we were done, he said, now I know. He said what? He said, he was speaking, himself and Gabriel were talking. And Gabriel said, this thing you're talking about, go and meet GT. You may not like him. You won't like some of the things he will say. You won't. Some of those things will be hard knocks. And he said, you said, after my session, you may have depressive thoughts. He said, he met me at the airport once. He had sent me a message on LinkedIn, and I looked at it. I looked at what he was doing. And then we met at the airport one day. And GT, can I? I said, no problem. I was waiting for my bag. So we had about 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So what do you want to do? Pap, I'll just listen. Okay. I was looking as if I was not listening. And when it was done, I said, well, this. I was like, I didn't look at it that way. I said, well, you can't get my business until you go answer those questions. And that was it. I knew it was going to hurt, but I knew he needed it. Or else he will pour money into something or chase blindly for another 1-2 years. And until those things are fixed, he won't enter into new markets. Right? And it can be like that. Number 3, take strategic bets. Take strategic bets. If you must scale, there are times when you have to do things. Wow, my time is up. Where you have to do things that you are not completely sure of. Up until when I got on this stage, I wasn't sure of how you're going to receive everything I'm saying. But here, I'm here anyway. And if you are not listening, someone's going to listen online. Take strategic bets. That startup, that business, start it already. That chase of a new customer, that new feature, launch it already. Interact with the market already. Stop analyzing, get in the market. Get that product up and running. Sew that clothes, sell it. Get online, say what you do. You have no idea who's going to listen. If that strategic bet is about partnership, raising new funding, go ahead and do it anyway. Because you just really, really never know. I'll say 2 more things and that will be it. Number 4, it's your team. This is what I have seen in advising and running businesses for years. You can start a business on your own. You can be great in your career on your own. Growth really begins to come. One of the first things growth will demand of you is your ability to work with other people. In fact, look at it. Which platform do you use a lot, sir? Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. So I'm sure when you started, you could set up everything by yourself, and you're fine. You would begin to need other people's inputs after a while, or else what would then happen is the reach of your effectiveness would just drop. And that's where I've seen the challenge with a lot of business people. And some people just don't get it. No, it's not the staff. It's the fact that it takes a different you. When you could start design, it takes a different you. It's not the staff. My guys are here at the back, right? So if I'm lying, they can tell me. I can train. But there was a time I would be the one to talk to you as a customer. I will write the proposal. I will send. I will negotiate. I will go to class. Fast forward, a time as I don't write proposals anymore. I just get the deals and I largely go to class to train. What am I being required to do? Manage the team to make sure that now runs concurrently. That's what is required. So you have to change from being the business person that offers the technical service to now building a team to be able to do it behind you. And you need to pay attention to that. Lastly, for now, and I wrap up and we can jump out of here, is understand how your customer is changing and understand what your response to that should mean. And how do I mean? I'll take Nigeria, for instance. Averagely now, since July last year, average age for Nigeria is now 18.1. And 70% actually are under the age of 35. So like we're just at the back. That what it means is that the Nigerian economy is predominantly young. Your customers, my customers, are predominantly young. If your customer base is changing, your customer profile is changing, your business, your response in your career should change. You are a career person here. Increasingly, you are going to hire and work with young people. So it's not necessarily about you. I mean, your product is not for you. Some people get it wrong. You can be all technical with what you are selling and how it is, but you have to say it or see what you are doing in my light because it's for me, right? And so that's the last thing I want to say. Your customer base is changing. So should your attitude, your product and service, and how you sell it should change, or else you will not scale. Just do the numbers. If 70% of the population in Nigeria is less than 35, why are you selling to the remaining 30? Except if the value per item is what the 70. You get, Remy, you get the way I'm doing the numbers. You have a better chance because a larger portion of the populace are about 70%. I hope this helps. Right? Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Sorry. Last recommendation. You can come. Last recommendation. I always like to do this. Some of these things are not my thoughts. They are just from books, right? There's a book I've been reading since the year started, and it's such a blessing. It's called Winning Now and Winning Later. There's that combination between what you have to do here and now and the relevance to and how you are building for the future. And that's also where some of us have challenges. What we are doing is great for where we are now, career-wise and in business, but we are now not creating the market of the future. And so we come into a future that we have not created, right? And it's a delicate balance to do the two. You're doing great what you're doing now. It's great for now. But are you creating the market for another 1 year? So it's winning now, winning later. How companies can succeed in the short term while investing for the long term. It's written by David Coates. Thank you very much.
Please, can we put our hands together and keep the energy? Let's put our hands together. If you can rise up, please celebrate the person of Mr. Gbenga Tutoyi. Thank you so much, sir, for such incredible wisdom and insights. My gosh, amazing, amazing. Please, let's have a seat. Thank you. Thank you very much. You've spoken so deeply and incredibly, not just about, our current realities, but how we can move from meager to mega. One of the key things that stood out for me in Satutoyi's session is the fact that you can have a perception of yourself, but your client's perception of you makes the difference. And at every point in time, you must ensure that what you are projecting is beyond just a small-based mindset. How many of us really understood what he spoke about when he came out with that demonstration? That was everything, right? A dress on the body of someone can be different from person to person. So we must always ensure that we are not just delivering and building, we are also positioning ourselves because the work of the future is based on perceived value. All right, I was about to say amen, but I know I'm not in church. All right, so how many of us have a couple of things that we learned? So would one or two persons want to share with us? Okay, we have Paul. Paul, if you can graciously come to the... Can we celebrate Olubori Paul as he shares with us something very interesting that he learned? Keep your hands together till he climbs on stage. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, sir. I want to follow you. Please allow me to follow you publicly. Please help me to beg him to let me follow him and learn from him. Say, please, Daddy, please. So he has agreed. All right. I learned this morning about value, actually, because I'm at a point in my life I'm trying to scale. Do you know that we scale spiritually also, aside from business too? So I've been trying to scale, and something is said about the people, when he mentioned Ida Basi, and I realized that it's time for us to start shooting at the big stars. And it's faster to scale, because when you sell to the big star, you sell 10. You can make the money you are supposed to make by the time you are trying to sell to 100, to 1,000. So the bigger stars are people. So, and how do you get there? Coming to this kind of event and learning this kind of thing. So I think I've got something that I'm going to fly with already. Now, he's my best friend and my organ.
Amazing. Please, can we celebrate Paul? Thank you so much. Another thing that he said that really made a lot of sense is be open to constructive criticism. Be open to feedback. I had the privilege of, I'm a legal practitioner by profession, and I had the privilege of working under one of, I would say, the smartest senior advocates of Nigeria ever. I usually see myself as of course, I'm not a dunce, but I used to see myself as I don't know anything compared to this man. I would go in front of the office, and he's churning out law reports, he's stating the case, he's quoting verbatim, like, what am I doing in my life? But I stayed there for 4 years, and everything that people perceive I do now was because he shook me to my foundation. So if you have the privilege of working with somebody who is very finicky about how you perform on your service or your job, please don't run away, at least until you know that it is the right time. The third thing and the last thing I would say that I learned also is that success does not come to meet you based on a desire. You must demonstrate capacity. And when there's a perception that you can perform on the next level, trust me, it's only a matter of time. All right, so I'm pretty excited about this. We celebrate you, sir. Thank you for such incredible insights. I believe everyone here would go on with something. All right, so we're going to move to the next session. Who can guess the next session that's coming up? Of course. So we're going to be having the business panel. Can we celebrate? And I'm excited. It's like today, I feel like I'm the host of this event, because it looks like, I'm just privileged to really stand there and really introduce these great men who have not only started something, but they have built and they are scaling, right? Everyone that is coming on this panel are people who it's clear and it's obvious that they have literally done their part. I'll be doing the privilege of reading their profile. I will make it very short, but it's something that I believe. And I must ask, do many of us have an understanding why we read profiles at events? Does anybody understand? It's not just to state they are great people. No. Profiles are encapsulated statements of the stories of great people. So when you hear a profile, it basically shows you their journey. So I'll be very quick. All right, we have the first panelist for the business session. This is somebody that is not a stranger to the offline and online community. We have none other but Jay on Air. Can we celebrate? I'm not hearing that clap. I'm not hearing it well. I can't hear it. Right, I'm going to be reading his profile. Joseph Ono Lakpo. I'm so sorry if I murdered your name. Professionally known as Jay on Air, is a radio and TV broadcaster, content creator, actor, and event host. He started his journey into the media space over 7 years ago as a radio intern, and since then, grown in leaps and bounds to become a primetime radio station host in Lagos, Nigeria. Jay is also known for his observational style of comedy on social media, where he recreates day-to-day situations with relatable characters like youth pastors, Chizoba, Madam CEO, Uncle Shege, and Mrs. Olaiton, to name a few. With thousands of followers and millions of views across multiple social media platforms, Jay is building a constantly evolving brand that is poised to become a household name globally. Ladies and gentlemen, at the third edition of the King's Business and Career Expo, can we welcome and celebrate with a rising ovation Mr. Joseph Onolapo as he comes to the stage to speak as a panelist. Keep celebrating till he gets here. Hello, Kings. We can do better than that. Come on, come on, come on. Are we celebrating? Yes, please. All right, are we ready for the next panelist? Let's have our seats. Are we ready? I can't hear the audience. I need this energy, guys. Are we ready? All right, so our next panelist is none other but our very own Remy Ademiju. Can we celebrate? Remy Ademiju is I need this energy. Come on. Remy Ademiju is an innovative and entrepreneurial leader who enjoys spending his time finding solutions that enable personal, organizational, and social development. He is currently a partner at Mosaic Human Capital Innovations Limited and executive director at SME 100 Africa. Can we put our hands together? Prior to now, Remy was the director of inclusion at Softcom, where initiatives were developed to identify the excluded in communities to provide socio-economic values in education, health, and micro businesses. Remy acquired a bachelor's degree in management information systems at Covenant University and holds a master's degree in leadership and change management from Leeds Beckett University. Remy summarizes his life mantra as have fun while doing great things. Ladies and gentlemen, can we bring to the platform Mr. Remy Ademiju as he comes as our panelist on the Business and Career Expo 2023. Guys, you know how we celebrate now. So can we make some noise? It's so good to have you. It's so good to have you. I'm very, very excited about this next panelist. I'm sure you would know. He's a very close and dear friend of the house and of myself. None other but Victor Fatomi. Can we celebrate? Victor Fatomi is the CEO of Fourth Canvas and Full Gap. He's a brand consultant, leader, and identity campaigner. I'm sure you will come across his post on Twitter for those of us that know. In 2015, he co-founded Fourth Canvas, an assembly of Africa's finest brand strategy and design minds. He's committed to living out his voice while helping other people and businesses find theirs. He's currently the Chief Brand Officer, CMO of Mainstack, the non-code platform, making it easier for creators to present their best work and sell their ideas. Ladies and gentlemen, a rousing applause. And with excitement, can we make welcome Mr. Victor Fatomi to the panel session? All right, so not the last, but definitely not the least. We are going to be bringing on stage. And when I call his name, I need energy. Can you promise me that? We have none other but Mr. Olubori Paul Kende, a successful forex trader, businessman, finance and development coach, and a seasoned public speaker with a degree in geography education. Olubori Paul is also the founder of GoLearn, Nigeria's foremost financial literacy platform. He's also the founder of GoDigit, Talk to Me, Peculiar Farms, and I Love to Volunteer. He's also the co-founder of Bricks and Rafters, a real estate firm, and has broken a record of selling about 100 plots of land in 8 months. Over the years, Olubori Paul has mentored and coached more than 20,000 individuals across Africa on finance and taught over 3,000 students in forex trading. He continues to inspire many to pursue their dreams and achieve financial freedom through his several coaching and mentorship programs. Ladies and gentlemen, can we celebrate on stage Mr. Olubori Paul Kende? And I have just been informed that we are bringing one more panelist to the podium, and I know that you know him. So when I call his name, I want that shout to be louder. Ladies and gentlemen, can we make welcome the one and only CEO of Fruitsy Life? Can we welcome Mr. Lanre Osidele, who is coming on stage as our panelist? Where is Mr. Lanre? Please, can we celebrate him and bring him here, please? Celebrate him, Mr. Larry, you're welcome. Very, very good to have you. Thank you very much for being here. Of course, you introduced yourself better. I apologize, I didn't read your full profile, so we're going to hear more from him. All right, are we excited this morning? All right, and none other than myself, your humble moderator for this event. All right, guys, this is going to be exciting. So first of all, I feel like the net worth on this chair, wow. When you put the entire network together, we can literally buy a nation or more, a couple. Don't you agree? So I'm very excited to have everyone here. The truth is, every one of us have very unique stories and unique journeys. And I, for one, I particularly learn, for those of us who understand and enjoy reading the biographies of great people, Williams the Great, a couple of people, you realize that people go through a lot of things in building. Building is not a very glamorous process. It's very, very interesting and very engaging to see us here looking fly and, with our makeup on and with our shades on and our amazing shoes and all that, right? But everyone here has seen what? Has seen Shege. Either Shege has gone through them or they've gone through it or they are coming out of it, right? So I want us to keep this panel very, very engaging, but in just 1 or 2 minutes, I would like to hear your journey. And I know it's going to be a very hard question because you literally have to summarize a couple of years in one. But to the person sitting in the audience who is confused and is just wanting to understand, how can they really, in quotes, make it, right? We would love to hear your short journey. What are some of your transformational moments in that journey that has brought you to this point in a minute or two? So I'll be starting with none of that but Mr. Onolapo. Thank you very much. Can we celebrate him even as he speaks? Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Dami, and the entire church for having me. So I'm just going to go right into it. My name is Joseph Onolapo, J on air. My story could be hard, but I'm just going to go straight to when I left secondary school, right? I left secondary school. I did sciences in secondary school, and I felt like I wanted to be a medical doctor, even though some of my teachers at the time felt, we don't think that that's what you're supposed to do, but it's a mistake we make because you're excelling at something does not necessarily mean that's what you're supposed to be. And because I was doing well in chemistry and physics and all of that, I thought, I was going to be a medical doctor. I got admission into Obafemi Awolowo University. And then I felt like my life was crashing down, right? And I remember a radio station starting up at that time, the Beat 99.9 FM. For some reason, I was listening to them, and I just knew that that is what I wanted to do, right? I was listening to people like Bami and Tools and some other people there. And then I told my parents, you know what? I want to drop out of school and go back and do something else in the arts. And my parents are quite supportive. So they're, okay, you want to do arts, so you want to be a lawyer. Because if you're not a doctor, you should be what? A lawyer. And I said, no, I want to do mass communication. My parents are educated, but mass communication is not a professional course like that. Plus, your elder sister did mass communication, so why would you want to do that? But I felt like this is what I wanted to do in my life. Eventually, I got the support. And I went to school and I did all of that. And then from there, I interned. We have this internship period in school. I interned and I got a job in Ondo State for my internship. They retained me there because they felt like there's something about you. I like how you sound. I like so let's do this. And from then on, my radio journey continued. NYSC, served in Benin, was still doing radio. I felt like it's faster in Benin. But I just felt like Benin was not where I was supposed to be. Number one, the salary was small. Number two, it was not coming as it was supposed to come. And let's also remember that I've done a couple of jobs before. I've been a jam lesson teacher. I've just struggled in a lot of places where they will not pay salaries. So I felt like I did not just want to continue being in that place for the rest of my life. I came to Lagos and said, you know what, I'm mighty talented. People are always saying, you are amazing, you are handsome, you are good, you are vocal. And then I entered Lagos entertainment space and Lagos said, we didn't know you there. So it felt like everything I had accomplished in the short frame of time was nothing. Because I came to Lagos, I know, but you want to get a radio job. I know, so it's a big space. So it almost felt like I started from the scratch again after doing so much, after being accomplished to an extent. So I started from the scratch and then did a couple of things. And then in 2020, I wanted to start a business because I was broke out of a job. I was depressed. And I found TikTok because everybody and their grandmother were on TikTok at the time. Right? And I started recreating sounds. And people were like, oh, you can be funny. Because the idea people had of me was, yes, he's a funny guy, but he's a public speaker. He's a radio presenter. He likes to talk about politics. So seeing me from a funny light or wearing costumes just seemed weird to people. It felt weird to me as well. Right? I did that. And before you know it, I said, let me start doing original content apart from lip syncing. And it became a thing. My friends started pushing it. People started pushing it. People started loving it. And if somebody had told me years ago that I would be doing what I'm doing now, I'd have said no, because I felt like I would be hosting Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and that would be where, my life would. But I've gotten those opportunities from doing what I'm doing on social media. I remember being out of a job and I was doing what I was doing on social media, and somebody from where I'm working at reached out and said, do you still do radio? And the person asked that question because they saw me. So that life is not working out the way you want it to work out does not mean you should stop doing something. Does not mean you should stop pushing. Does not mean you should stop trying. I feel like you lose out on a lot of things when you stop. And I think I'm where I am because I did not stop. And I'm going to say one more thing because if you leave me, I work on radio, you understand? Yeah. So the last thing I'm going to say, I remember being in church 2 years ago. It was Covenant Christian Center. Pastor Kwajemani was preaching. He was giving a word for the year, something. And then I said, God, you know, churches always have the word for the year. I'm sure Kings has the word for the year. Your year of dancing through the ocean, your year of surmounting the enemies, your year of doing this. I said, I love the word, but God, I want my word. And the word I get for every year is a call to action to do something. And God said to me, your own word for the year is consistency. Consistently put in the work. And I think that I grew in leaps and bounds to the number of followers that I have, to the number of people that know me now, because I was consistently working. So every week, whether I feel like doing it, whether I don't feel like doing it, I'm going to put out a video. Whether I get 1,000 likes or 10,000 likes, I'm going to put out a video. And the consistency led me to this point. So I'm just grateful to God that I did not stop trying, and I consistently kept on doing the work.
Amazing. So amazing. So go with your word. Keep being consistent. Have your word. For kings in the house, what's our word for 2023? We spread with speed. And are we spreading? Yes, we are. So we celebrate. Can you celebrate Joseph? Thank you so much for that story. Remy, we need to hear you. You've worked in the private space. You run what you're doing now. You've built businesses. You've invested in businesses. You've funded businesses. You're running one now. You've also walked the career path. Show us the road and how it's been for you in 2 minutes. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. And thank you for having me. First, you look different from from TikTok. Well, pleased to meet you here. So for me, so quickly is something similar. When I was not very good in school, and I realized it was because I was kind of studying the wrong course. Yeah, and it was strange that what God wanted me to do with my life also had to do with the courses I passed and the ones that I failed. Yeah. Long story short, in junior secondary school, I was good with like business and art and all. But when you're now moving into SS1, like they're not born you where to go and say commercial now. Like you want to fail in life, so you must do science to become an engineer. I did not even know any successful engineer first of all, but the problem was you cannot fall hand. So peer pressure, and the peer pressure brought me down. Yeah. But interestingly, so I'm currently writing a document called My Career, The Journey and Destination to Purpose. So it is interesting that you ask this question. And what I'm doing is learning from Steve Jobs and Paul, the Apostle, how to connect the dots in your life. So I'm connecting the dots in my life from 1998, because that is the farthest I can remember, from 1998 to date. And even from all of the failures and the successes, by God's grace, all of the lines are connecting. Yeah. And I think for me, things really began to make sense in like uni when I realized that I really wanted to go into entrepreneurship. Yeah. And it was kind of like two things for me. One was about me being the entrepreneur. Then the other one was about me supporting entrepreneurs. Yeah. And something else helped me a whole lot, which was my science background. So even though I was not good in science, it helped me a lot. Yeah, because it helped me to know how to think. Yeah. For people think in different ways. I think in a visual way, but also in an analytical way. Yeah. So that really helped me a lot. And then I began my journey. Yeah, it was pretty much about providing entrepreneurial support and a bit about me being the entrepreneur. So I'm currently on a journey now to move from, not to move from, in addition to supporting entrepreneurs, to now pushing out more of my own content. Yeah, and interestingly, a lot of opportunities have always come my way around that. Yeah, and I'm grateful now. I will be, working to see how we can promote or support quite a number of SMEs, not just in Nigeria, but in Africa, through the SME 100 Africa initiative. Yeah, thank you.
Thank Thank you for sharing your journey with us. There was something you said that's very important. Everything works, in summary, everything works together for good. That course that you did that you thought was a waste, guess what? Is not a waste, right? Because everything, you find the placement in everything. And I'm so glad for you to share your journey. Victor, can we celebrate again before we move ahead? So Victor is a very dear friend, and you literally took, I would say you jumped the broom. You were in a very core 9 to 5 doing your thing, and then you built 2 companies. From what I know, Victor, one of Victor's companies employs close to 20 staff, if I'm not correct. Employs one of your companies, where I think it's Fourth Canvas or so, was in charge of branding Piggy Vest. How many of you know that, right? So we are talking about someone that has done a couple of things in the space. Please tell us how easy it was. Share with us here, because some of us we do not understand the sheer level of determination it takes to literally jump into the unknown, building anything you don't know, right? So please share with us on how the tricks and hacks that you're able to do to get through to where we are. We would love to hear that. Thank you.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Rosemond. I'll try to keep this short. I started out as the artistic kid that almost everyone started out as. So my notebooks were filled with welcome to first term. I would take a whole page to ink it. If you did that here, so we were all artists, right? Because if you made that, then you were an artist. And when you asked me, what do you want to become in the future? What's your future ambition? I would say an architect at some point. I would say a pharmacist. I would say a sailor. If the Super Eagles was playing, when you asked me, then I wanted to be a football referee. It just depended on the mood I was when you asked me, for real. But I never said graphic designer or artist or anything like that because I didn't know that these things existed. I didn't know that there was anything that you could build a life around that was connected to these things I loved to draw. And we had a library in our house growing up, but I never read the books. I only looked for the pictures. So I loved the books that had a lot of illustrations. So I was always a visual kid. But when I got to the university, my brother was in the final year. I was in the first year, and we stayed together. He ran a magazine, and I saw him pay designers. And they would come to the house, and they would be reviewing the designs. Then I would have opinions. I would say, this text is looking too big. Is this positioning? Then my brother after would say, if you have opinions on this thing, you could as well become one. So I'm like, okay, become what? What are these people doing in the first place? So, okay, graphic designer. Yeah, you're paying them this. It was paying them maybe like 20K, which was huge, For me, I'm like, okay. So I asked one of them to teach me, and he said I should bring 10,000 naira, and I could not afford it. But they were doing all of that on my laptop, so I had a laptop. I was privileged to have a laptop in that moment, right? My brother's laptop was bad, so they were reviewing all those designs on my laptop. And they had to install the design software on my laptop so that they could open the source files. So even though I couldn't afford to pay them to teach me, when they left, all the design files were on my laptop. So I started opening it and playing with it. That's how I became a graphic designer. Yeah, I didn't pay and all. So I started by trying to recreate stuff. Then so I just started. And then I started telling my friends I was a designer. And then I would design the departmental logo. I designed the hostels logo, the church fellowship stuff. They were not good stuff, right? But everybody liked it like that because they were not paying me either. Or they were paying me tiny fees. You can't complain when you're paying me 1,000 naira for a flyer or something, right? But that was the start. But then I sat down in a talk in around 2010, and this man came from Abuja through the Navigators Christian Ministry in my school, Bro Mike. This is an international ministry, and then we had someone from there. And someone came and it was a sitting room, and he was teaching us about entrepreneurship. And he said this thing that I want you guys to go home with, if this still applies to you. He said, if your parents took care of you from when they gave birth to you being in uni, they have done more than they are obligated to do. You are a full-grown human being. If you watch animals, when animals drop their offspring, everybody moves on and they find their way. right? It is humans that still take responsibility for a long time. So you're in uni and you're complaining about they've not sent your alawi and you are throwing tantrums. Like you're an adult. That was the talk. I can't forget that talk in my life. Said, make money. You need to be able to create value by yourself. Where do you begin from? Check in within yourself. What do you like to do? What do you know how to do? When I checked with myself, it was the graphic design I had just started doing. And so I started to think, okay, so I started to think about the business part. And then I met Bolaji by random hostel distribution. I became a good graphic designer on campus over like 1 or 2 years. I was popular on campus. I was literally like very popular on campus, designing posters. But you had to come and stay with me in my room overnight to get your work done. I would not pick your calls. I would not meet your timelines. I was a good artist, but I lacked every sense of structural excellence. I was not reliable or dependable. I just knew to do the work. So Bobolaji was the guy who was supposed to become a soldier. But Nigeria Defense Academy did not admit him. And after several tries, his parents said, go to school, just go and wait in school in the meantime. So when he was in school, he was not interested in school. Then we met by random allocation, which now I know it's not random, it's by divine arrangement. And he would watch me and say, pick your course now. Oh yeah, I would tell somebody, this is getting too long, I'm sorry, I'll round up now. sorry. I would tell somebody 9 a.m., your work will be ready. And Bolaji will watch that I am going to bed by 10 p.m. I've not opened my laptop. And he'll say, you promised somebody 9 a.m. Oh, yeah, get up. Oh, there's no fuel in the gen. He will go and get the fuel. The gen is bad. He will go and fix it. And that was what became a partnership. And two of us started the design agency that became Fourth Canvas. Inside Fourth Canvas, we were trying to structure and do better with structure using technology tools. And we realized that freelancers had it worse. And that inspired us to build Full Gap, which is right now structuring invoices, agreements, contracts, and all of that for everyday freelancers. So one thing led to the other at different phases, but at the center of it all was people. When Balaji was doing what he was doing, it was just volunteering. He didn't come to me and say, I want to be your co-founder. He was just doing what he thought was right. Then it was then obvious to me that this guy had strengths in my area of weaknesses. And I'm like, guy, you are God sent. We're doing this thing together. I think that's a good summary of my story.
Yes.
The other question to bring the rest. Thank you.
Can we celebrate this question? Thank you very much on the answers. So in other words, leverage, right? You must know how to leverage and understand your weaknesses and also leverage for your strengths. Thank you so much. So we're going to go to Mr. Larry Shidele, who is the CEO of Light Naturals. Apologies, I didn't actually pronounce that well at the beginning. So thank you so much from what I know about Larry, I call you Pastor Larry, but the second of this, Pilan for short, you've worked in the bank, and you still work in a bank, right? And you are building something which just tell us your journey, really, right? And, some of the things that you have done is you've literally seen a gap, and you are filling that gap with your products, right? I've been privileged to have some of your products, and for those of you that have drunk Light Naturals, how many of you can testify that it's the real deal? It's the real deal, yeah? So tell us what you do, right, in summary, and then tell us how that's, building that business, because it is a business, has been, and what some of the things you've done so far. So, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you to Kings. I need to start from there. Kings is my home, and I'm incredibly proud to be here on this platform. It's so incredible. Thank you so much. And to my panelists, awesome stories, beautiful stories. So good to have you as well. All right, my history or background, basically, I'm going to keep it very brief. I work in a bank, right? I'm a procurement specialist in the bank. I have years of experience in banking operations and support and all of that. Also, I'll call myself a media explorer. So I think I've evolved, starting with photography. I evolved from wanting to take pictures and building a business in that as well, to transitioning into, okay, I know a bit of graphics design. I can do logos here and there. Then from there, wanting to know more about this media thing, getting into video editing and montage creation, right? So that's another aspect. Yeah, that's majorly it in the line of business and career as well. But here I am today on this platform to talk about a business I never saw myself starting or going into. And when that happens, you know that the inspiration has to have come from somewhere. I like to proudly say that that inspiration for Light Naturals came at a Sunday service at King's. It was like, it was phenomenal because, you know, yeah, you're in church, you're listening to a word, and it's a literal, I heard a voice, but it was just a burning sensation, a desire to start something, and I was taken aback. I'm someone that, I mean, I hear God quite all right, but this was like a push, like this is the next thing for you. And it was so clear, so vivid, and I decided to run with it. So, I mean, I had this idea, right? So, what is Light Naturals? I didn't go into that. So, Light Naturals is, I like to call it a movement for natural foods and wellness, right? And that's what I do. So, we started out as a juicery, an all-natural, 100% natural juicery, right? So, in getting that idea to start Light Naturals as a whole and then start with the juicery, I didn't know what to do and where to come in. This is me who, yes, I have a degree in biochemistry, right? And I have a natural affinity for wanting to explore in the kitchen. Just, I mean, I'm the type, if you check my explore page on Instagram now, you see food. It's just food, one meal after the other. So I had that tendency to go into that, and I knew I had that affinity for food and just exploring with food, right? But I did not see myself going into this line, going into making juices for people. So the most I've ever done in that light was, okay, we're home, pineapples, yeah, this juice is nice. Instead of drinking another pasteurized brand, why don't I make it natural? Or I make for my wife and I. Oh, it's nice, it tastes good, and all that. I remember a day where we just had fruits everywhere, and I was like, what's all this? I just combined everything, right? And it came, I think, okay, yes, it was Hannah. I think Hannah would remember when she just came around visiting, and I was like, oh, Hannah, you're going. You need to take something. So I gave her a flask of, I had kept some in the fridge. And Hannah called, and I was like, this is so awesome, this is so good. And this was years back, right? And I didn't even count it for anything. I just said, oh, it's just something I put together. So fast forward to how I started the business. So Light Naturals actually started around this time last year. Yes. And our first goal was also at the Business Career Expo last year. And I mean, it was huge. So the idea itself and how I got into it. Light Naturals, by the way, the name also came along with the instruction, right? It came along with the instruction. So it's like, oh, okay, this is the next thing. So I said, okay, this is a business. So what I started by doing was learning. I mean, if you don't know something about anything, you have to get that knowledge, right? So in getting that knowledge, I literally slept and woke up on my laptop, Googling, YouTubing, getting more knowledge, following this person, following that person, learning more and more about what I've been inspired to do, right? And then building up to there, the business itself, sourcing, getting content, getting material, registering the business as well. All of it. And the beautiful thing about that is it all came together so easily. It was a shock to me because I already ran a business and I knew a bit, I mean, I was also in the career field as well. And I have not heard a story of a business starting up and going so well, so fast. So it was actually a surprise to me. So I had to now do the catching up with the business as well, you know. But as I went on, I saw that there was a passion within that I never knew was there. So, I mean, ask my wife, the first few months when we started, I'll be up every night, back to back, still having to go to work some of the days because I used to work remotely. every day. I'll be up throughout the night. It's either I'm juicing, I'm learning about the juicing, I'm trying to piece together different recipes and all of that. So that, doing that, I was like, at the point, there was a night I was putting everything together, and I just paused for a moment. I'm like, where is this energy coming from? I had no idea where it was coming from, but I can easily tell you that it's definitely God inspired, because the idea itself was God inspired, and that's what has fueled the passion, fueled the business as well. Our growth journey, I'm sure I will still talk about that well. Yes, thank you so much.
That for Pastor Larry. I think I'm a testimony to this, because one of the privileges I have as a legal practitioner is I get to be a part of great businesses, right? And I remember particularly where we were trying to do the name reservation for the name. And I can tell you for free, the first feedback I got was that it was not approved. And then the next day, CSE gets back and says it's approved. We're so shocked. I knew that God definitely, I have to tell us, God is definitely in this thing, right? So we are really excited for how far you've come. 1 year, but you've done so much, right? And we celebrate. Can we celebrate again? Thank you. Our personal finance coach, Mr. Olubori Paul. I know that we're really pressed for time, but what inspires you to do all the things you do? Because even while we're reading your profile, a lot of people see that you're just doing so many things, but there is a core. There's something that powers that, right? And it's in your story. So, like I said, 1 minute. We'd love to hear from you, and then I will then ask my next question.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Pastor Dami PLT. Thank you, Kings, for giving me this privilege. So my business is the business of people. And I realize that not so much people are into the business of people. Everybody are into the business of money. And they never realize that there's actually money in people. So every plot of land I sold, 70% of them didn't see the land before they even paid. As at yesterday, I still made a sale of 1.4 million. And the business is now worth over 500 million. And it's not even up to a year. But that's not the story. The story is that I have always been a disadvantaged person. My parents were not rich. My dad died at a very early stage. I started hustling from GS1 because I had to take care of my daddy, who is bedridden. And I didn't go to school for 2 years. And I went to a school whereby nobody wanted me. I didn't look attractive to anybody. I was always my zip is always worn out. I carry liner back to school. So I was always seeking for, not like attention, because there was no attention to even collect, because what do I want to give to anyone? So studying, reading, and making sure that I come up top anywhere was important to me, because I only make friends during exams and test period, because I get to teach people, I get to charge people to teach them during exams. So I'm always popular around that time. And before university, my daddy died and all of that. So I started hustling from that point. My goal was not really to be anything, because nothing was looking like it. The closest I've been was to go to a bank, and I used to see people wear suit and tie and all of that. So that's my first desire, that I think I want to be a banker, so I can be it's just because I can be wearing suit and tie and be saying good morning, how are you, how are you doing? That was what I wanted to do. And I never tasted anything that is called money or wealthy life or anything. So I don't want to go too deep. It was really serious, that bad, that I even beg sometimes on the street after selling or hawking pure water, and I don't make up to the money for transportation back home. So it was really bad. So I was always at a disadvantage. I went to Osun State College of Education, affiliated to University of Uyo. So people ask me, where do you school? I say University of Uyo. It's true, it's University of Uyo, but I didn't go to the campus. It was the Osun State College of Education. So when they are striking, when ASU is striking, we are on strike. When Kowasu is striking, we are on strike. I spent 6 years in school. So I was always at a disadvantage. And I did education. So the expectation is that finish school and be a teacher. But I was never going to be a teacher. I love teaching, but I was never going to teach geography. I don't even know what the map looks like right now. But I began to show interest in people, in other people. I wanted to, and I didn't get any support from anybody. So whatever I become is by God's grace and by tenacity and by everything and by prayers and all of that, because I pray a lot too. So nobody was ready to support me. I didn't look promising. I didn't look, I was not physically looking it. I was not anywhere looking it. So I had to grow myself by every means. I think I've watched almost 50% of every TEDx on YouTube. I think I have listened to almost Pastor Poju's sermons. I think I've listened, when YouTube brings my report, it's always hours of watching and listening. I'm on premium on YouTube because I want to do other things and be listening. This midnight till 2:30 a.m., I was watching an apostle from Rwanda, Grace Lubega. So, I was doing a lot of things. So what happened, what suddenly changed is because I started showing interest in others. The thing that people didn't do to me, the way people didn't support me, I started supporting other people. I started volunteering. Everything I can do, I go and I started learning barbing. My lecturer said, let me come and try. I spoiled his hair, but he just said, don't worry, go ahead. Nobody did anything. So the idea was I started supporting people, and those people in turn started putting me out there, started talking about me, started sharing what I'm doing. So, and I started creating, what product can I give to these people? I became a forest trader. So when I say I want to do forest classes, everybody comes and pay. When I say I'm selling land, because they see a trusted figure, they can relate to my story, and then because most of them their stories are relatable to mine, and I share them unashamedly. So that's how the journey started, and the money small started coming, and all of that. We are still building and learning, and as I've got to now.
Thank you. We celebrate your story. I'm tempted to start and go this way, but I'm going to go to Mr. Joseph as well. I've been privileged to always hear you on your downfall rides and Beat 88.5. Very interesting. As a radio and TV host, a content creator, you've been able to not just speak about, but also display very relatable everyday content to your audience. And of course, you've been able to utilize all the social media platforms that a lot of us love. Almost everybody here has an Instagram account. If you don't have an Instagram account, can I see your hand? Obviously nobody. So, or a TikTok account. Me, I know I don't have TikTok, so I will not lie. But if you have a TikTok account, can I see your hand? Okay, all right. Those that don't have, please, you know what to do, right? My question is, because there's something about visibility. You've hacked it in the manner of speaking. My question to you is, how have you been able to use digital platforms, social media to effectively engage your audience, right? And build your personal brand? Because beyond the work you do, you are a brand. And so how have you leveraged these social media platforms for your business, for your brand, and how have you been able to put the two together to make it work?
All right. Thank you for that question. How have I been able to leverage my social media presence and be able to push my brand? So, to be honest, when I started on social media, I was not thinking about leveraging anything. I was just creating content, because if you've watched interviews or read interviews of me, I always like to say, not always like to say, that was the experience at the time. When I started, I was out of a job. I was depressed. And I think that it was worse for me because I had experienced some level of success in my life. And it almost felt like my parents' story, because my parents also experienced level of success. So we grew up with money and, and then you lose everything. You understand? So my dad lost everything. My mom lost everything. We're out of school. So it felt like that was how my life was looking. Like this was going to be like a generational thing where you make and then you lose. So I just felt like, maybe this is what my life is going to be like. And I want to also appreciate the fact that, he spoke about listening to people. The person I listen to a lot of the time, because I'll be honest with you, when I listen to a lot of teachings, because we're in university at the time, and what moved people that year, I remember Apostle Selman too became like a big thing that time in my campus, and everybody was talking about the spiritual and the things of the spirit, and I'm like, God, these things are amazing, but I cannot put them into my life, because I'm being honest with you, I did not quite understand. And a lot of us at the time said we don't understand it. We're supposed to understand it, but it just felt like that's what everybody was doing. So we're just the spiritual, I said no, understand it. And as God will have it, I started listening. I found Joyce Meyer and Everyday Life. Number one, I just liked Everyday Life because I want to be able to do things, actively watch the things I do every single day. Now, watching her, I could connect to her story. I could connect to the things she had been through when she was younger. And that was my form of therapy. That was my form of therapy. Listening to her, and imputing those things in my everyday life. That helped me. And I started on social media, and I said I'm just going to keep on putting out content. So even when I was getting likes and follows, and it was a big thing for me at the time, I said I did not start this thing for likes and follows. I started this thing because of myself. So every single video you see me posting, I don't post because I want to necessarily get a reaction. I mean, I'm grateful for followership. I'm grateful for that. But if I'm not comfortable with something, I'm not going to post it. I remember when I started posting some content that was churchy, right? And then I got DMs. People saying, you need to ensure that you don't post too many Christian content. I remember when I started posting some content that was not so churchy, and I started getting some calls from my campus fellowship. You were a president in a fellowship. You cannot post certain kinds of things. And I've always been the person that would always do what I want to do. And I thank God for that spirit. As long as I'm at peace, as long as I'm not hurting anybody, as long as I'm not getting a nudge from God, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. It does not matter how you are. I'm grateful for what you're saying. I'm not going to be rude to you, but I'm going to do what I want to do. Because at the end of the day, I will live with the consequences, not you. So if I do things based, I'm not even sure if I'm answering your question. If I do things based on what you told me to do, I would always hold you responsible. I want to be able to hold myself responsible because I did what I intended to do, right? And so I started doing that, and like I said, I got the call for radio because I was doing what I said I was going to do. How have I been able to leverage it? I've been able to leverage it by connecting with people on social media. So it's one thing to be there, it's one thing to connect. And when you start getting some popularity, there are people that will enter your DMs, and there are people that will, there's some celebrities, I'm not going to obviously mention names, people that you would not expect. I remember the first time MI, and I did not know MI was even following me, sent me a DM and said, you are very talented. My wife and I love you. It was, right? And they give you access. I remember listening to a message years ago. I went in school, and I'm going to wrap this up because if you leave me here. I went to Ondo State University, even though some people think I went to Covenant or Unilag. And then I went to Agape Campus Fellowship. The major church is Funke Adejumo. I don't know whether you know her. I mean, people know her, yeah. And, that was the church I was going to. And I remember a message she preached some years ago. When you get access to certain kinds of people, you cannot misuse those relationships. There are accesses, I don't know if that's a word. There's a form of access you're going to get, and then you are so excited, you start DMing people unnecessarily. I've noticed that. You start calling people unnecessarily. That somebody of power gives you their number does not mean you call them unnecessarily. You call them because you need something, and because you call them because you are also offering something. And so I took a step back and I said, God, I thank you for this growth. I'm not going to get mad and start name dropping and DMing unnecessarily. And the good thing was, when I eventually needed those people, they were there for me because I did not misuse those relationships. And I remember Kate Henshaw. We did something, and I promise you, I'm not name dropping. I'm not even one of those people. But she reached out to me one time and said, oh, Jay, you are running away. I want us to go out and just talk and just converse. I remember not misusing that relationship when she reached out to me years ago. And then one thing she said recently was, I like how it felt like I was the one pushing you. Not you were the one pushing me. Because usually when I give people access, they just want to remove my truth. How can you give me the number of the producer that will give me the number of producer that gave me in that film? And I said, Jay, just relax. Everything that belongs to you will come to you. Maintain the relationships. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't compare yourself and your journey to another person's journey. Just do you. I'm going to say one last thing as I wrap this up. When I started, I remember having multiple characters, and then people said, you're not going to blow with multiple characters. Everybody has that one character. For Taoma is the mother character that slaps. For Mr. Macaroni is that his character. But you don't have one recognizable character. You just do anything. But that's how I was led to do. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to put myself in a box. I'm going to do everything. And you will be amazed at the kind of brand deals I get. I will get from clothing brands because they are characters for clothing brands. I will get for MTN. I will get for an HR company because I have characters in that space. So the blessing that people did not see is now paying off now because different people can reach out to me, different kinds of brands because of different kinds of characters. I remember recently a company reached out that sells engagement rings and said, we want you to help us promote our engagement rings because you have a newly married woman character that just started 1 month. Mr. Light, huh? So I thank God that I did not follow. So leveraging is, I don't know, man, just do you at the end of the day. Follow your spirit, follow your God. Don't listen to people. And eventually, it may not pay off. In fact, it will not pay off eventually or now, but eventually it will pay off.
Come on, can we celebrate that? Thank you. Your story is so interesting. I think there was something that, when you project those characters, it's just so relatable. So definitely, there's no way brands will not be able to. So thank you very much for that. So Remy, so how will I explain? You deal with partners a lot. You've worked with partnerships. You've particularly, especially when it comes to the investment space, because you're a businessman. People invest in businesses to get profits, right? In terms of the partners that you had, my question to you basically would be, now, what basically is inspiration between how you choose your partners in business? What are the things that you look out for? Because your company right now, of course, is a partner-centric company. How do you foster strong partnerships, and how do you nurture fruitful relationships with your partners? And I think your principles can be applicable across board. So it would be great to hear those insights from you too.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. So partnerships are not always a very easy thing. Yeah, because there's partnership with individuals and with corporate organizations. The hardest one is with individuals. With organizations, it might not be as hard as individuals. Yeah. And I think for me, it starts first with people are not very sure as to how they should make the right decisions. The goal is to make a right decision, not a good decision. Because almost everybody here, we are all brilliant. Everybody here is brilliant enough to become a doctor. It's a good profession, but it might not be the right one for you. And that's the difference. Yeah. The Bible says how forcible are right words. So how do you try to make the right decisions, even when it comes to partnership? Is number one, you need to check if that decision aligns with your goals. Goals is the first thing. Yeah. Because that is what drives the economy. And by goals, I don't just mean money now. I mean, what are you really trying to achieve in your, with your life? Yeah. Whether it's a career or a business goal, it's important that it aligns. If it doesn't align with your goal, it's going to be a problem. And the second one are your values. Yeah. If those two things don't align, it's also going to be a problem. But some very simple ways maybe to find, to grow in that is, first of all, if you are here and you have issues with partnership, you need to find a way to detox yourself from it, because you cannot scale. We're talking about scale. You cannot scale without partners. Yeah. The biggest companies in the world are owned by multiple people. Check how much stake Elon Musk has in Tesla. It will shock you. It does not have up to 20%. I believe it's even lower than that. Yeah. Recently, Zenith Bank, what's his name? Jimovia. It was on the news that he made about 14 billion in the last week. But he owns about 16%. You see, all these big names and people who own all the amount of money, they own so much because they had to also give out so much. Yeah, you need partnership. Yeah, so, but of course, when you start, it might just be you, and then you can add one or two, other people. But I would say that something that is also important in partnership is, in a very basic way, just try to start managing relationships well. In a basic, what he said about Not when someone gives you access, they give you you take allowance. You need to calm down. Yeah. And I know that he's doing you. Like, you must break through this year. I know. But the Bible says that until the world tried him, that's for Joseph, his time had not come. And he waited for 14 years. But he was very, very dutiful in every journey. Yeah. And as you grow up, you might find some partners that you don't even know how to. One of the things that I'm trying to learn now is how to manage or collaborate with people who are higher than me. Yeah, because God is bringing some people my way, and I'm wondering. I recently met, I don't know if you know Charms. Yeah, it's one of the big technology companies. I recently met the founder, and I just went to say hi to him. Like, thank you for all your contribution in technology. And the next thing is, he asked me for a meeting. I'm like, this thing is not going the right way. And then he books the meeting 1 month ahead. I've never seen that kind of thing before in my life. Normally, if I meet you today, let's see on Wednesday. I met you today, okay, let us see on the 30th of the next month. And I could not believe the level of access this man gave me. It was incredible. Yeah. And I'm still learning how to manage it. Yeah. Because there's an opportunity there already for me to work with him. Yeah. And I need the wisdom, for that. And lastly is, I'm at a point in my life now that quite a number of opportunities are coming to partner to scale. Yeah, so it's a whole learning curve for me as well. And not just partnership with individuals, but partnership with organizations. I'm the vice president for business for Covenant University alumni, and we have a financial goal. And when God dropped that in my heart towards the end of last year, the first thing that came to my mind is, you need to go and look for partners. That was the first thing that came to my mind, to go and look for partners. And I started knocking on the doors of financial organizations. And interestingly, one organization, Advancedly, picked the opportunity. They owned it with their chest. And they actually committed to $500,000. And that is something that I know that God is bringing my way, and I'm happy about the opportunity and the wisdom to grow it.
Come on, can we put our hands together? Partnerships are so important. It says one chase 1,000 and two will what? Who said chase 10,000? Can I see your hands up? Do you know that the scripture actually says two will put 10,000 to flight? It doesn't use the word chase. Go check it out, right? So that means that there's exponential growth when you collaborate. Even Jesus had to collaborate with what? 12 disciples. So you cannot do life without people. And so you must treat them well, because people are actually currency, not finance, right? There's something Pastor Dami said that was so incredibly important. He said, money is so low on the scheme of things that God didn't bother creating paper money. He created people, and he created opportunities and gave them a place to sow. And they reaped, and money was made. Amen? I'm about to say amen. Did I really say amen? I'm so sorry. All right, Victor. So I'm very, so we've talked about your story, how literally you had to bring structure into your life, but God had mercy on you, and you literally found someone, and that flows from the conversation on partnerships, right? But Victor does something that is incredibly inspiring for those of us that know him. You do a lot of storytelling. I don't think most of the things that you may have done may have been direct, lobbying, but you creatively storytell your brand. And you do it in such a way that they're just like, we are hearing about this guy. What is going on? So what are some of those things you've done? And especially on Twitter, so you found your platform, basically, right? So you storytell a lot. How do you think storytelling empowers the entrepreneur to, break into whatever target markets that they have in mind? Sharing from some of your experiences. I would like to hear that.
Yeah, that's my favorite question ever. That's what I enjoy talking about the most. First, let's talk about the importance, which I eventually learned. Have you ever called your uncle or your aunt before just to check on them? And they go like, I've been meaning to call you. I was just thinking about you a while ago, or I was going to call you. Has anybody experienced that? You call someone and they say, oh, thanks for even calling me. There's a big lesson there that you might be missing. they would not have called you if you didn't put that call forward. They indeed thought about you, but they would not have remembered to call you. Out of mind, out of sight is out of mind. What storytelling consistently, you spoke about consistency, does is it keeps you visible. I am sure that there's nobody in this country who can think of anything that involves me or any of my businesses and they will say the name skipped their mind. It cannot skip your mind. Because the moment you carry your phone, you're going to see my tweets. You can't forget the name of Full Gap or Fourth Canvas for something. Because the moment you carry your phone, you're going to see us pop up. Right? So the point of telling your story, the first benefit of telling your story is that it keeps you up there, which is why a lot of us are not sharing our story because the quality is not yet top-notch. Your camera is not yet great for that picture. Your writing is not as great as the stories you read on Twitter. Your story, the success has not yet arrived. You are still in the hustle, and you think, oh, it's not fine enough. But you should at least understand the first benefit, which is the visibility, coming up there at all in the minds of people. And sometimes we also think that storytelling is only about success stories. But sometimes work in progress is even more attractive a story than finished product. Right? And another illustration I used in my book, because I have a book on selling, is that we all think that our mothers and our fathers are the best in the world. Who thinks their mom is the best mom in the world right here? Oh, that's the evidence that we're all wrong, isn't it? But at the same time, you are right. Each of us are right in his own, because to you, this mom or this dad or this partner or this spouse is the person you have seen up close the most. So you have seen their good the most. I don't know how great your mom is. It is you who knows, right? Bring it back to business. Proximity. Telling your story makes people feel close to you. So you see everything you shared already, sir, in your story, right? I feel like I know you a little more. That's how it is. Now, someone else might feel embarrassed to say, I will sell pure water. I don't even have the money to go back home after a day's out of work. You might think that's shameful. No, that's not shameful. That's attractive to see how much he has gone through that and then still done what he has done. It doesn't mean if your story is not as, mine is not as, I didn't have that, but I don't need to look for bad in sense. I just need to tell my own story because there's something attractive in going behind the veils. And that's what I do. So tell your story. It's not the quality of the story that matters. I have written articles about 4 years ago that if I go and read it now, they don't make sense. What I said did not make sense. Writing them nonetheless, that what I write now makes sense. So I would say for businesses, which start from individual brands, sometimes, by the way, I'm sure there's a problem many of you have. You have created a page online, and now you are thinking, should all my business content come from that page that has 5 followers, or should it come from my page that has 200? Do you have that issue? Yeah. Please, do not leave anything you are doing out of your personal page. You can be posting on both, but people connect more to you telling your story. Don't feel any way about that. So those are quick thoughts I would like to share on storytelling. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So businesses as a brand, learn how to speak about yourself. There's something in business they call top of mind awareness. In fact, it's an important metric in measuring the sustainability and impact of businesses across, right? Data even says that. So if you're a business, you're a brand, tell your story. There is no shame in owning your story. Okay.
Hello. Okay. Just to add something importantly, when I spoke about work in progress, the best work in progress stories are the ones where you are sharing, oh, I just did this sketch of this dress. I'm still working on it. It's not yet done. Or I'm reading this book, right? Or I tried these design options yesterday. I'm not sure which one is going, like your journey. But guess what? That means you have to be doing something. So your effort daily. You said something about what you do daily. Joyce Meyer, I think that was from you. What you are doing daily needs to be noteworthy so that when you are journaling it, it then has that value. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Please, okay, thank you very much for that. I want to talk to you, Pilar, because building a business in 1 year, right? I want to understand some of the challenges you have. So I think you've been able to create a very unique product, which is 100% natural fruit juices of different kinds, of different styles, of different brands. And doing business in Nigeria is very, you know what I'm saying. How many of you know that doing business in Nigeria, you get as you be, right, starting out? Can you share with us some of the challenges that you faced practically and how you're currently solving those challenges for the very early stage business person out there to encourage? And of course, this is our last set of questions, so I don't know if there are going to be questions from the panel, maybe 1 or 2, and then, of course, we'll have final words and we'll bring the session to a close. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Challenges, I have had quite a number of them. The first challenge was even starting at all. I think I took about a week to keep ruminating on the inspiration. I'm like, what is this thing? What is it about? But how I surmounted that was to start. I knew I had to start from a point. So what I first of all did was invest in that process. Because really, to even grow anything, a part of you has to leave, has to either die or come out of you to create that thing. So that happened. I remember taking a chunk of what I earned at my 9 to 5 to purchase a juicer. And the joy in doing that was, something else. That's how I knew that this passion was there somehow. Because in that, I saw the ability to create multiple things, having gone through the part of knowing and learning and getting the knowledge about what I'm about to start. So in doing that, starting at all requires a level of sacrifice, right? And then even with starting, Nigeria will certainly happen. I remember the first few weeks, I think I bought about 2 dozen pineapples because I really love pineapples. Many of my recipes have pineapple bases, many of them. I bought pineapples and I kept them in the fridge, right? But because of work and all of that, I was hoping, okay, they'll stay as in the fridge now. Of course, nothing will go bad or anything. And it went on like that for about a week. So on and off, PHCN happened as well. The lights went off, came on. I turned on the gen. When I came back from work, okay. So anytime I go to the fridge, I'm like, these pineapples are still here. Okay. When I brought them out to juice, it was something. What I saw was not pineapples. I was looking at a mass of decayed fruits, and I was like, but I put them in the fridge. And I thought, okay, this is not the best way to preserve these things. So I lost that batch. It was painful. But looking back on it now, I know I've learned so much. So so in doing the business itself, in selling, you go on Instagram and of course you look at those who are doing what you intend to do, right? And you see what they are doing and like, wow, this person has really gone foul. And then you see, the natural thing, the first thing you want to do is, how many followers does this person have? And you're looking and like, you're just juicing, like I want to juice, and you have this many followers, right? So of course we all know So Fresh. That was the first page I went to. Of course they've had that traction, so follow Who Know Road. So I looked through their content, looked through all of that, and learned a little more about what they did to get to the point where they are now, right? And that also inspired me to even go into what I wanted to do. So in starting at all, if there's a challenge in doing it, just let something in you die so that thing can actually start. Let yourself go. Don't be afraid to fail. I think that was because different scenarios, I can't really go into all of it, but at different points and different moments, I saw to myself that, okay, this is a reason to just not continue this business, right? But I just kept going. I did not relent. Staying up all those nights, trying to improve what I had already started, just kept me going, and I thank God for the grace as well.
Thank you for sharing your story. So this is going to be our last question because, of course, we're pressed for time. So, Paul, as a personal finance coach, you say that every time, and it's something that you're well known for. Just give us some very practical tips that you can share with us as individuals and businesses to manage our finances and achieve financial stability.
All right. Thank
Very
you.
quickly.
All right.
Thank
So, separate business money from personal money. Don't save. When you start saving, don't save. Don't have a reason to save. Save without a reason. That means that I tell people to save. So I just checked my piggy account recently, and I have like 220,000. I intentionally mentioned the amount, so it's small. But there is something I did automatedly with piggy that they should debit certain amounts from my account, and I did it. That money is like a year. And I just left it there, and do you know what happened? Actually, was that I was not feeling the debit, but now I can feel the credit. So saving is, you don't need to do it in chunk, very big chunk. Imagine saving 1,000 naira every day. At the end of the year, it's 365,000. You might not feel the 1,000, depending on what you're doing. Some of you are students, you might feel it. For me, I can't feel the 1,000 naira. It's just like they are debiting me normal card charges at it. So you can even save 500. You can save 15 naira and do it consistently. What that does to you is that it teaches you how to manage big money when big money comes to your hand. Saving is not necessarily going to help you in raining days. Most of you will spend your money before raining days comes. But the process of you having to consistently accumulate things, and that is how you accumulate ideas. That's how you accumulate business. I have almost 10 businesses, and trust me, they are doing well. It's because first I have overtime related with people, built people who are capable to handle them and willingly surrender it to them. Some of them are co-founders in it. Some of them have shares in it, and they take it like it's their life. And I'm wondering what's going on, because I have taken time to deposit in people over time and watch them grow. So take time. If it is 10 naira, just do it daily that you cannot feel. And you see, and also in your business, partnership. Everybody just talk about partnership. Partnership is really, really, really important. And in partnership, you have to take big risk, like allowing people to really be who they are. Don't over-dictate what you want them to do because of your own personal goals. You will not discover the other things they can actually do for you to make your business grow. They have more ideas sometimes than you think. But if you are resisting them all the time, your business might not grow. But leave them. Let them do what they want to do. Eventually, people will think you are the one that owns the idea. They will know that it was the idea of someone that just shared something with you, and it has become something big. And also separate the money, business money, personal money. Please separate them all the time. Separate it all the time. If you need to take from business money, write it as a contract that I'm borrowing so amount from this particular business, and I promise to return it back before this time, and not that, and keep it somewhere. I'm telling you the truth, because it is a practice that you have to put in place. By the time you become big, you can become indisciplined with finance, and that can break you totally down. So whatever you want to do when you get there, start practicing it now. You can take a loan from your business. I think that's a good one for you.
Thank you. Can we put our hands together? So put your hands together. Come on. Yeah. Thank you so much for this very practical advice. I wish we could continue this conversation, but we've literally gone past an hour plus. I can't believe it. Thank you very much. So do we have just one question, but we're just going to have 30 seconds, your final thoughts, right? What are you leaving us with? What should we remember? I'm going to literally be counting. So 30 seconds, and then we'll bring this amazing panel session to a close. After this panel session, we are going to be going on the trade fair break. So there are stalls behind you. Make sure that, you go there and have some fun. So final words before we come to the end of this panel session.
The final words, 30 seconds. Be consistent. Everywhere I go, I must always say that, be consistent. Share your own story. A lot of people did not know that I MC weddings. A lot of people, I'm putting it out there. I MC events. People just thought I tie gele on my hair and make people laugh. I MC a bank event, and she said, you speak proper English. I speak proper English in my video, but for some reason, it did not register in the woman's mind that I can anchor an event. Until I went to an event and I took an assistant and I said, make a video of me. I put that out on social media. Everything you do should be on your Instagram, should be on your TikTok. If not, how will they know if they don't see?
Yeah.
You understand? Put yourself out there, be consistent, don't compare yourself. When you get that big money eventually, don't go and buy Benz. Don't go and buy Benz. Because buying Benz is one thing, maintaining the Benz is another thing. Do you understand? So live your life, pace yourself. The Benz money will come. You understand? That you can afford it now does not mean you should buy it. When I was buying my first car, some people are, when you enter, so they know G on it has entered.
Yeah.
A car is to move you from point A to point B. Do you understand? So don't compare yourself and, pray and God will help us.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. I think firstly is I wrote it down somehow, just 1 minute. Yeah, your journey is preparing you for your purpose, and you need to believe it. Yeah. The reason why I'm writing that document is because I want to scientifically prove that your life connects. Your life is more connected than you think and less disconnected than you think. Don't pressure yourself too much. Your journey is preparing you for your purpose. That course you passed, that course you failed. That person you met, stuff like that. Even if you made a mistake, that learning can come later on in the future. Yeah, so please, that is very important. Lastly will be, it's very important to start practicing small. It's very important. David said, when a lion came, when a bear came, give me Goliath. Many of you are asking for Goliath. It's not even cute chicken. It's not fair. You are hurting yourself and you are going to pay that price in the future. You need to start small or start now. No matter how small it is, you just need to start. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Victor. 30 seconds from you.
I'll try. So if you are a service provider or freelancer here, you have a skill that you offer people and they pay you for. Okay, we don't have, that's not, okay. I wish I saw more hands.
I can raise my
Yes, I wish I saw more hands, but that's good. This is still good. And if you are not, you should look within. My final message to you is that you are an institution and you should start carrying yourself like one. The future is individual. With AI is nothing to be scared about. It just makes you as an individual more powerful. Graphic design, content development, software, making content on the internet, there's no limit, there's no cap. It's not a side hustle. It's not something you do in the meantime. It can make you millions. Your life can be based on that simple skill you are doing. And check out Full Gap, FULLGAP. Full Gap. It's an oxymoron. It's a full gap.co. It simplifies the structure side of your individual hustle, right? To put it that way. So invoices, agreements, project management, we built it over 10 years of experience managing individuals like you. Please, let's do this together, guys.
Yeah.
So please, thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, Larry.
Final words. Start where you are. Start where you are. Don't downplay the grace that you have. When I started, I didn't know I was going to come this far or even get here this quick. Well, I just started, and I thank God for how far I've come. And as much as I'm doing this as well, something I don't call all these other aspects of my life is this. I won't call Light Naturals and selling juices a side hustle. It's a project. It's a project in purpose. That's what I possibly call it. So don't look at yourself just like Victor said. You are more than you think you are. You can do more than you think you are currently doing now. So the fact that I'm doing a 9 to 5 is not stopping me from doing this. So I've been able to find a balance in that. So always find that balance as well.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Paul.
Okay. All right. So invest in people, please, and be kind. We are not preaching this as much as possible. If you are single and not married, be kind to other people more than you are kind to yourself first. I don't know if it works for me, but the truth is that kindness, God doesn't hold anybody. It comes back no matter what. More than what I've done to other people in doing good to them, I have received 1 million. While sitting down here, somebody just offered to make a shoe for me. People have offered to buy me suits, to do things. I'm nobody, I'm just a nobody poor. But when you have done things to other people, like give out belts, give out shoes, that you don't even think. They come back in mass and you don't know about it. So be kind to others, and love people and invest in people also. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And with that brings us to the end of this business session. I want to say a very big thank you to our amazing panelists for just sharing your wisdom with us. Please, can you celebrate us even as we wrap up this session? I think we should have pictures, right? Who is going to take? We need to have pictures. Can we have